Good evening and welcome to the June 22nd, 2026 Board of Commissioners work session. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge the passing last night of Commissioner James Etta Bedford. James Etta was a longtime and effective member of the Orange County Board of Commissioners. She served 12 years before that in the Chapel Oak Harbor City Schools, and then 8 years as a commissioner, 3 years as chair. Many of us had the pleasure of serving with her on numerous boards and commissions, and she will be missed greatly. And on to item number 2, agenda changes and improvements.
Do we want to include the budget amendment as a change to the agenda?
It would be under consent.
Okay, I just wanted to double check that. Otherwise, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And number 3 is a public hearing to receive public comment on adoption of an ordinance imposing a 1-year moratorium, development moratorium on data centers as a land use.
Move to open public session.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And I have Shannon down to initiating discussion, but I don't see Shannon. There she is. You're hiding in the back.
Where's all you?
And I couldn't hear you in the back. Will you open the public hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Properly,
Yeah, I was gonna say if everyone could kind of speak a little bit because in the back it's hard to hear. So we've discussed this item before. As you all know, we've already passed a 60-day moratoria. Because this board goes on break for July, we're not going to be able to come back with as much research and data and information as we had like. So we would like to extend that data center moratorium out to 1 year. We did work with the town attorney to post the public notice that we were planning on doing that according to state law. We just really need time to think really intuitively about how this may impact our community, our utilities, the sound, all of the various, potential negative impacts that this use could pose to our town. We just need more time to review it and think about it and bring something meaningful back to this board as far as UDO amendments, addressing this land use in the Unified Development Ordinance.
Good, thank you. And at this time, I'll call up one at a time the folks who have signed up for public comments on this issue. The first one is Megan Kimball. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Bell and commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to comment tonight. My name is Megan Kimball. I'm a senior attorney at the Southern Environmental Law Center, and I'm also a Hillsborough resident. The Southern Environmental Law Center works throughout the Southeast, but we have been working in recent years in Virginia, specifically on data centers, and now we find ourselves working more and more in North Carolina as more local governments in North Carolina are getting increasing proposals for data centers. I'm here tonight to comment in support of extending the moratorium for an additional year. In doing so, you would be joining dozens of communities across the state who are taking this important step to pause and put the right protective measures in place before you receive any proposals for data centers. Data centers are a unique industrial use. They are different from other industrial uses in that they operate 24/7. So a lot of the impacts from data centers, they don't stop at night. You hear constant noise. I think that is one of the number one impacts facing communities is just this constant low droning noise. And then also noise that is inaudible, this low frequency noise, which is harmful to human health and animals. So it's really smart to take the time to get it right and regulate. This is especially important now in light of restrictions in North Carolina on downzoning. So you want to make sure that you get it right the first time. And when you do regulate, we encourage you, please don't allow data centers in any district as of right. Make sure that if you do allow them, they're in your industrial district and you require either a special use permit or conditional rezoning with standards that are specifically designed to address the impacts of data centers. I encourage you to take a look at the materials from Loudoun County, Virginia. I'm sure you already have them. They did a really wonderful job putting together best practices, and there's a white paper from one of their commissioners that's really helpful. So thank you so much for taking this important step. We are here to help, and we will continue to engage and provide resources if we can be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, just to let you know, Mike Turner has met with, who is the supervisor of Loudoun County, who is the expert, has spoken to regional councils, and that information has been shared.
Excellent.
Colin Hicks. Welcome.
I'm Colin. I've lived in Hillsborough my whole life. I grew up here, I've got the Eno River tattooed on my arm, and I love Hillsborough. And like many of the people behind me, I want to see Hillsborough continue to thrive and continue to be a place that is fundamental to the values that I was raised on. To be a place where everyone is welcome and cared for. And for this to happen, we have to fiercely protect our town from vultures like these data companies coming in and trying to make a buck on us and passing off not only the environmental responsibilities, but the social responsibilities onto a small town community like Hillsborough. Not only are data centers a threat to our natural resources, they are also a threat to the fabric that holds places like this together. I love Hillsborough because I can walk downtown and no matter what, I'll see at least 5 people that know me and I know them. We'll have a conversation about my family and their family, how the farm is doing, how the river is doing, and it all is cohesive. It all makes sense. Data companies represent 0 of that. None of these people live here. None of these people are visiting here. They see these towns and these places as an opportunity to make a buck, pour off some terrible things into the water, and get out of town. Data centers are the antithesis of everything I love about this town, and I, along with many others, will not stand for them trying to invade our community. Thank you guys for your time and hopefully for your vote to continue this moratorium and keep these companies out of our town.
Thank you very much. Tremaine Jeffries.
Menkuhu, Mima Tremaine Jeffries, Mengiko Hanela, Iwati, Hillsborough, Yaganese. My name is Tremaine Jeffries, and I am from Hillsborough. I've lived in Hillsborough all my life, and I intend on dying in Hillsborough. Yeah, so I'm just here to speak on myself and behalf of members within my tribe, the Occaneechi. Wrote down what I have to say just because I don't want to sit back down and be like, dang, I should have said that. But anyways, here we go. It is to my knowledge that we have a 90-day moratorium on data center zoning here in historic Hillsborough, and that the discussion tonight will be to extend that moratorium to a full year. Me and my relatives, all members of the Occaneechi Band of Susponi Nation, oppose any and all developments of data centers, especially data centers potentially being built in our ancestral territory. Data centers require millions of gallons of water per day to cool themselves. Even the small-scale data centers require 300,000 to 500,000 gallons of water per day to cool themselves, only for the chemical runoff of those cooling systems to run back into the land and river and pollute not only them, but the sound as well. Imagine a world in which you can no longer hear the birds chirp in the morning because of the diesel hum of a data center. I am for economic development, but I am completely against economic development at the cost of the environment. These data center developers try sneaky tactics to get towns to sign to allow their placement, such as signing NDAs or offering a lump sum of cash to sway town officials. I don't doubt that they wouldn't make these such offers to you all. I ask with genuine concern on the behalf of myself and all of my ancestors who have inhabited this place for thousands of years to protect the land in which we all now share and not to sell out to the greed of the elite. Thank you.
Benita Raymond.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you. I forgot to bring my glasses, so there we.
I love your necklace. It's so.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Not trying to see the future. I was thinking.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Benita Rayner. I stand in opposition of bringing data centers to Hillsborough, not because we oppose progress, but because we understand that some places are too valuable to sacrifice. The land is more than acreage on a map. It is part of my ancestral homeland of the Occaneechi-Saponi Tribal Nation, whose history, culture, and connection to the region stretches back centuries before North Carolina existed. These landscapes hold stories, traditions, and legacy that cannot be replaced once disrupted. We have a responsibility to honor that heritage, not pave over in the name of short-term development. The environmental consequences are equally alarming. Data centers are among the most to resource extensive facilities being built today. They require enormous amounts of water for cooling and place tremendous demands on local water supplies. In a community that treasures the Eno River watershed and relies on healthy groundwater resources, we cannot afford to gamble with our most precious resource. Once water quality is degraded, they are stressed. The damage can cause lasting effects to our generation. Clean water is not a luxury, it's a foundation of public health, agriculture, wildlife, and the quality of life. And then there's the impact to the surrounding neighborhoods. Hillsborough is cherished for its small town character, scenic beauty, and peaceful residential areas. Bringing the data centers will bring increase to traffic, years of construction, disruption, constant mechanism noise, towering over the character of the area. Property owners who choose the community, or who choose this community for the tranquility and natural resources or surroundings, should not be forced to live beside a facility that fundamentally changes the landscape. The question before us is not whether technology matters, it does. The question is whether this is the right place. Not every open piece of land is an opportunity or what, I'm sorry. Let's see. Not every open piece of land is an appropriate site for industrial development. Some places deserve protection because of their history, their environmental significance, and communities that call them home. Future generations will judge us by the choices that we make today. Let's choose stewardship over exploitation, preservation over short-term sighted financial gain, and respect for our history, our water, and our neighborhoods. I urge you to reject any type of proposal for this data center coming to the area. And let's protect our land, the people, and the heritage that makes up Hillsborough as its extraordinary place that it is. Thank you.
Maggie Saunders. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Maggie Saunders and my heart is beating kind of fast, not because I'm nervous. I'm not nervous at all, but I'm very passionate about this issue for several reasons. One of them is the 80 to 90 decibels of constant noise that these data centers make. I'm sure you've seen the very viral videos online of people even up to a mile away. Just they can hear that drone. It's a low drone in frequency, but it's not low in volume. They can hear it in their house with all the doors closed up. They can hear it over the TV. That is a great way to decrease the mental well-being of all the people in our town. Once the data center is built, it's meant to run on its own. It does not provide jobs, and the money generated by the surveillance technology where they're going to be compiling the data from the flock cameras that we also did not ask for, that money is going to leave our state. It is going to leave Hillsborough. It is going to go to those big old companies that they're not seated here. They're meant to run on their own. So once the construction jobs are over, that does not bring value nor jobs to Hillsborough. As far as the wildlife goes, this, Occaneechi Mountain, the Eno, the mountain has held me, you know? I've had a lot of special experiences in the tranquility of the mountain. And, you know, for a smaller example, on half of the mountain, you can still hear the interstate, the low drone of the interstate. So that is like a little taste of what it would be like to have a data center anywhere near here. It's a bit disruptive. But luckily, as you hike around the mountain, the land blocks that noise, from the interstate. We don't need it. This isn't some Luddite resistance of progress and technology, as other people have spoken on. This is about protecting jobs, peace, the character of Hillsborough, and most importantly, the Occaneechi people's land. I mean, they're a very small group of people, and to put a data center here without their consent, to force pollution into the river and into the land is equivalent to rape. Thank you.
Amy Moon.
I agree with what everyone has said so far. I don't need to speak anymore, but would just like to say I agree that we should have the 1 year moratorium on data centers.
And Beverly. Oh,
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I would like to speak. I don't have an eloquent piece that I have written. I actually just heard about this today, and I'm saddened that it's even on the agenda, period. I agree with what everyone else said. And Mark, you remember doing climate challenge? You asked me what we do. And the question was so simple that I didn't get it. And that's why I didn't answer you. But I got it once we had Tropical Storm Chantal. And not only did the river flood, but the sewage flooded the river. And I told Mark, I don't know if he's brought it up in a meeting or not, that you need to be thinking about how to move the sewage from going beside the river. Mark told me that it was all about gravity. Well, I really don't appreciate gravity because once I got what he was asking me about challenge change, which was doing Chantal, challenge, change, climate change, and Chantal. Those 3 C's are messing with me. But I told him that I definitely would not put literal shit in our waterways. So I'm challenging the town of Hillsborough, the county of Orange, to start, and I know you can't move it all at one time. I know we don't have that kind of money. But to start working on that and to not just put data centers on the back burner so that we can revisit it for a year, but to put it out, period. For it not to exist in the town of Hillsborough because it does nothing for us but pollution, noise pollution. I mean, that means a lot to me. I don't know about y'all. Anyway, my challenge is that the county stop talking about data centers and expel data centers forever coming into Hillsborough, at least during our lifetimes. I think that when we should be moving the sewage lines, that's kind of crazy to talk about bringing us something else that will do something else to deteriorate our livelihoods. So, I understand that everybody is or different towns are putting off data centers for a year because that's all that the moratorium allows. Well, that's our fault, that that's all that the moratoriums allow, is who we vote in. Why should we voted them in, let's vote them out. And we can change the laws as well. And we need to be working on stuff that we need to be working on. I appreciate your listening. Thank you. And if you have questions, don't be afraid to ask me.
Dante. Welcome.
Meku, Dante, Migiko Hanela, Iwati, Hillsborough, Ya, Akanese. What I said was hello, my name is Dante and I live in Hillsborough. I oppose the data center that is planned to come to Hillsborough. This data center could possibly pollute the Eno River, which will affect our drinking water. And it will mess up our resources and watersheds, like the Eno River connects to the Neuse River, and it will pollute the Neuse River as well. This data center is not great for us to have in Hillsborough because of the ongoing gentrification in houses that we have here now. I remember as a little boy that the town did not have as much traffic as it does now because of gentrification. So I will say that we do not need a data center here to add on more space in our town. If y'all love Hillsborough like I do and the community behind me, y'all will reject this data center that's trying to come in to our town. BY, thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this subject tonight? Okay. Board members, is there any more discussion you'd like to have before we close the public hearing? No.
I just want to clarify, because a lot of folks have mentioned a proposal for a data center, and that's, I just want to clarify, do we have a proposal for a data center currently? Because my understanding is this is just about putting in a moratorium so we can get the regulation so that if someone comes before us, there's rules and hopefully very robust rules about it.
Yes, you're correct. We do not currently have any proposals that have been submitted for a data center. However, we don't want to get caught without any regulations for it. So that's the purpose of the moratorium.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
May I ask a question?
Okay, 1 minute, please. Do you have any?
The only thing, well, I don't have any questions. I don't know when you want us to comment, because I do have some comments.
Now's a good.
Okay. First of all, just to reiterate, Mike Turner, who is the vice supervisor of Loudoun County, Virginia, he is an engineer by trade. His expertise is one both professional as well as being vice chair of the Board of Supervisors of Loudoun County, which for those who may not know, has the greatest concentration of data centers in the country, maybe the world. He has spoken with Association of County Officials as well as Council of Governments, provided, and I have shared with this board not only the white paper, the presentation, the local government best practices dealing with data centers, and the rest of the information. I really reiterate one of the issues with data centers that has not been discussed is that when it comes to cooling, a lot of data centers are a lot north and they have different cooling issues in the northern climates versus southern. With the water in the south, every 5 to 7 years, you have to recycle it because it is so heavily contaminated with heavy metals and forever chemicals that it cannot be continued to use. And there is no clear way of determining who remediates where it goes. With respect to power, And there is not enough power in the country to run data centers, which is why they're going to on-site nuclear, micronuclear. Which the data centers have no requirement to inform us how they are being powered. However, our fire departments and any fire department must be ready to handle everything from lithium battery fires to nuclear fires, as well as regular. When it comes to the money, one of the things that I encourage you is speaking with property owners. One of the biggest issues with data centers is that property owners, when they get offers and they're being offered massive millions, cash on hand, no questions asked for land. When that happens, that is a heck of a thing for a property owner. Few property owners are going to say no. I have spoken with some of those property owners in other parts of the state who regret selling to those buyers. However, it's something that needs to have a community conversation. And secondly is these things. Data centers is because of this. And I really we all have to own this responsibility. Streaming, phone, everything else. So I encourage equally is you have to really think about how do we use power and what we're doing. All in all, though, as I said, the other last thing that has not been spoken is decommissioning.
Sorry.
I'll be very quick.
Well, we're gonna have another discussion
Oh.
later. This is just a public hearing.
Never mind. No, I am gonna say this, because decommissioning, that is one of the other pieces where there is no protocol for decommissioning. Once the centers are in, first of all, the value is the initial purpose and the value is in the equipment. That equipment has quick depreciation. And the only way to know in terms of tax, unless that is a straight line depreciation, which is generally inaccurate, you would have to actually go in and inspect, which that's not gonna happen either. Those are my high points. So I agree that data centers are not appropriate for this, but I also agree that as a community, we do need to have a conversation and make sure that we have truly the big picture, because as I speak, this is data that's known today. Over the next year, we need to give our staff the ability to look at best practices, look at more, because this is evolving very quickly. So that we are prepared and that when we do our final vote, it is one of informed consent. I appreciate that and thank you for letting me speak.
Do you have any comments from the public hearing perspective?
Not from the public hearing perspective.
Okay. Leslie, do you wish to speak at the public hearing? All right, if there are no more comments, is there a motion to close the public?
So moved.
Matt? Matt and Kathleen. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, and moving on to the amended consent agenda, is there a motion?
Move to adopt the consent agenda, including the additional budget amendments provided to us by staff earlier today.
Second.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Kathleen. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, and now to item number 5, in-depth discussions and topics. Item A, data center land use development moratorium extension from 60 days to 1 year pursuant to NC General Statute 160D-107.
To give a little bit of my spiel at the beginning of the public hearing, but just as a refresher, and as Commissioner Hughes pointed out, we do not currently have a formal application for a data center in our community. However, we have had some various questions from developers, other communities about how we're handling it, what our regulations are. We do not have a great way to address that land use in our unified development ordinance. Staff did kind of touch base with the town board about this a few months ago. We discussed and implemented a 60-day moratorium per state statute. And now we are going to extend that from 60 days to a year in order to further study all of the potential negative impacts of that and craft regulations around data centers for our community.
Good. Thank you, Shannon. Megan, do you have any questions, comments?
No questions, comment really only being, pretty similar to my comments, when we did the 60 days. Just that really feel that Hillsborough has to get this right. It's so important from all the stories that you hear from other communities and how detrimental that the data centers can be to the environment, to people's lives, all of the disruption that they bring with them. So I definitely think that this is something that the town staff really needs to take a look at and find where the right places would be and what the rules around that would be. I know we talked about like the decibel level where that doesn't include the frequency of that same sound. It could easily be under decibel, but the frequency, it makes it feel louder than it is. So there's just so many little bits of this that needs time, that the town needs time to really get into and find best practices from other communities. So I would be in favor of a year moratorium.
Thank you. Matt?
Yeah, I was just writing down my notes here. So, you know, there's all kinds of things I think about in terms of data centers and whether or not they're right for Hillsborough. And you know, those concerns are the fact that we have these existing tax loopholes that, you know, really robs local communities of the tax revenues, both sales tax and property tax, the low frequency noises that was mentioned earlier, created by 24/7 machines, what to do with the water, which Commissioner Ferguson has also brought up, and as a result, also the impact on our infrastructure doesn't create a lot of meaningful jobs. There's the public safety hazards that Commissioner Ferguson mentioned, but also, you know, as data centers are likely to become more and more part of critical infrastructure, they're likely also to be targets for terrorism. And what better place than a data center in a small town for that? And that we have regulations that really prioritizes what is in line with our own community values as it relates to economic development, that is right for Hillsborough. And I think that's economic development that creates more opportunity for people to live here, to afford to live here, to have a job here, to hopefully, if they didn't grow up here and they moved here later in life, that they stay as long as they can. I will say, you know, I think Tremaine has me beat. My family hasn't been here thousands of years, but we have been here for 10 generations. And unlike some folks in my family, and unlike probably a lot of folks my age who did not feel it possible to stay in Hillsborough for opportunity reasons, for other things, that I have a responsibility as someone who could stay here and who could make sure that we're on the right path, hopefully for the next 10 generations of my family. Hopefully they all decide to move back at some point. But I think that's incredibly important that, you know, it is very meaningful to me that I walk down streets that my ancestors also possibly walked down. And they probably enjoyed the beauty in the same way that I enjoy the beauty today. And I want to make sure that continues for other people. So getting some regulations that are right sized, that deeply prioritizes things that improves people's lives rather than takes away from their quality of life is really what I want to see in these regulations. And I think it's possible, knowing that we cannot ban, correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, we cannot ban certain uses. So we have to create a structure, but we don't have to make that structure a very easy structure to go through. And hopefully, after we put these in place, if someone is looking to Hillsborough and they call Shannon, or frankly, they call one of us, and it's like, you can try, but we don't really think that's going to be possible. You're not going to be able to meet these standards. I think is worth for us going for.
Kathleen?
Yes, the other piece is that, we talk about property values, the neighborhoods, in speaking with some other communities, they do bring down property values. I'm just adding more fuel on my opposition, because I don't believe we are not right-sided for it on any form or fashion. As Commissioner Hughes goes, we can't ban. And we do have to follow, you know, the rules and regs in place. That's the 1-year moratorium. And yes, I agree that we need to make the requirements where it is appropriate for our community. We do not have any of the infrastructure that supports a data center, even the smaller ones. So doing the one, as I mentioned before, doing the 1 year to give staff the appropriate time to work on not only on, you know, through the year, there will be new best practices coming up. There's going to be new experiences that come up. There's both good and bad. The issues such as decommissioning, and just to let you know, at the regional level, there are many discussions that are going on with elected officials through the COG, addressing not only of the knowns, but highlighting what is not known, and the not knowns is as important. This time will give us a chance for thoughtful conversation and ensuring that what we have in place does support our community values, it supports our community infrastructure, and looks at longevity as opposed to in the immediate moment. So I'm done.
Thank you. Yeah, agree with everything that has been said, and as I have mentioned before, that there are just so many questions about data centers and land use that you know, we need to take the time to get it right. We're all mindful of the potential negative impacts from data centers. Everybody has said these things before: water, electrical, pollution, noise, the lack of meaningful employment, and especially because I think Dante mentioned the requesting of municipalities to sign non-disclosure agreements, so we can't talk about it. That's just ludicrous. I agree. No, I don't get to vote as the mayor, but I agree this extension is necessary for us to take the time to figure out what is permissible and where. And so we can update the UDO to address data centers and these various uses. Are there any other comments?
Move to put in place the 1 year moratorium.
Second.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Matt. Any more discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Great, thank you. And moving on to item B, general use rezoning request and development agreement for 715 US Highway 70 East, assisted living neighborhood to multifamily. Shannon.
Very Shannon heavy agenda tonight.
Shannon, sir.
Thank you all for your time and your patience on this one. So you all recall, a few months ago, we had this, come forward where it would have normally had been ready for a vote, but we had to table the item as, the town attorney worked with the applicant's attorney on finalizing the development agreement. That has been finalized. That was in your packet. I'll just kind of do an overview. This is for the general use rezoning and development agreement for 715 US Highway 70 East. From assistive living neighborhood to multifamily is the rezoning request. The applicant, the acreage is about 13.4 acres. This piece of property was the easternmost kind of area of what was originally a master planned community that was approved in the early 2000s. The western part was single family, age restricted units, and then the other part at one point was approved for an assisted living facility or a MOS, which is a multi-unit assisted housing with services facility. So slightly different as far as the state's definition. Some highlights from the development agreement is that we are agreeing to a 10-year term, construction of up to 67 attached dwelling units, which are normally called townhomes, or you calls them attached dwelling units. There is a kind of concept plan that is in the development agreement that shows the basic parking lot layout. The streets internal to the site are going to be private. They are gonna function more like parking lots than actual street networks. There's gonna be no subdivision of these lots, so these will be rental units. And there is a payment in lieu to the town's affordable housing fund proposed. Bob, correct me if any of this changed during the process, because I don't think that it did. And then there's also the construction of sidewalks along the property frontage on 70 East and a continuation of the walking trail on the perimeter of the property to connect with the existing walking trail in Corventon Commons. The developer is committed to necessary repairs to the pedestrian bridge, the southeast corner of the property that goes over a stream. Town water and sewer service to the project as soon as it becomes available, but no later than June 30th, 2028. I think the board will recall that we have some sewer capacity constraints in the river basin. Brian's here if you have any questions about that. And there's 2 points of water line connection, which is important. I think that again, Brian is here to speak more to this, but we are trying to get water lines looped so that we can maintain pressure, and so that if there is a water line break at one point, we are still able to service, so you don't lose basically water service when something happens. And there's a proposed future connection to the Corventon Commons pump station. Public hearing was held on this joint public hearing. Again, it's been a few months, but that legal process was held. The property was posted, and now it is time for this board to make that legislative decision. Staff recommends approval of the requested rezoning based on its consistency with the Unified Development Ordinance and the future land use plan, as well as the provisions of the development agreement.
Shannon, the planning board recommended to.
Yes, they did.
Thank you, Shannon. Before I invite the commissioners to opine on this, Bob, do you have any other comments? Because it was a pretty lengthy legal rigmarole that we went through to get to this point.
I won't go through all the ugly details, but eventually, remember there was a lawsuit involved. The court just last week signed the consent order authorizing and approving the settlement. And all that's left for us to do is to vote on. So, and the development agreement.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. Megan, do you have any questions, comments? Discuss this ad nauseam.
I know, I don't think I have anything more after all the discussion that we have had about it. I kind of thought that we were gonna have a connector road in there, but that must have gone a while ago. Completing it.
That was eliminated pretty early on
Okay.
because there are environmental constraints and the like that would
Yeah.
make it very difficult to do.
That's the only question I have.
Thank you. Matt, any questions?
Just for Bob and Shannon, just because it says it in the agenda abstract, do you need these as Benita, I'm the one who can't talk tonight. But do you need those as 3 specific motions sequentially, or can we do just one
You can
motion
do
to wrap it up?
all in one motion to wrap it all up.
Okay, that was my only question.
As long as the record will reflect when you do that, you're talking about all 3 items and not just one.
Kathleen?
I mean, just this is comment is for public who may not be aware, is that while we followed procedures that we are required to, in the end, this is a settlement because of court proceedings. And what this town cannot afford is lengthy court fees and at real risk of liability, which would have been among this. Having said that, am I voting for this? Of course. Do I like it? No, I think it's bad, but it's our choices in this case is a case of bad, worse, and god awful. So that's my comment.
Thank you. You heard me?
No,
Yeah, I just wanted to say, again, I don't get to vote on this, but really appreciate Commissioner Ferguson's comment about how we got to this point, and this is what the court has agreed is in the best interest of the town and the applicant, and We have, of course, learned lessons about developers and the processes they follow and how to better avoid those situations in the future wherever possible. So I don't get to vote, but this is where we are. So Matt, would you like to make a motion to adopt the consistency statement? To adopt the attached rezoning ordinance and approve the attached development agreement?
Yes, because I think many of us might want to get out before the storm hits. I move to adopt the consistency statement, the rezoning ordinance, and the development agreement.
Second.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Kathleen. Any more discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Well, Mayor, I've been looking at the radar. We're like 2 minutes from getting hammered.
Okay.
So I know sometimes we have.
How about we say
Updates, yeah.
updates for the next meeting?
But I actually do have some. Oh.
Move to adjourn.
Door may decide for it.
We've lost the internet connection.
I actually have something for town, and this has to do with the fire truck price fixing. That report is, that's minimal information we need to provide by the end of July to get money back. Same thing for PFAS. I've got information for you on that.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Have a good night.